A state of emergency in California as deadly fires explode across the state.
We are going to begin here with the fires raging in California. 2 of them exploded in size with frightening speed.
It was pitch black. It just got pitch black. And I thought, wow, this is the longest day ever. I can't believe it's already night and we're fighting into the night, and wow. And I pulled out my cell phone to look at what time it was. It was 12:20 in the afternoon. And I was just watching this fire. Having lived here my whole life, I know the fire patterns, I know the reality of fire. And around 6 a.m., I just saw that this was not going to go well.
And from a feeling perspective, I just knew something was really wrong. Like, I just knew it was coming toward us. I had this intuition. I think it lends itself well to the fact that I work in this environment, and just you certainly attune your senses.
Okay, shit's about to get real. Yes, it is. Here it comes. Where is it? I know it's here. My son was standing with me. I told him I was going to tell everyone to get ready to evacuate. And there was that quiet moment where he just looked at me and goes, "We're not evacuating, are we, Dad?" I go, "No, you and I are not evacuating." We got out our hoses, pumps, all our fire gear, set up our evacuation routes. And then we went up the canyon to where the fire was going to enter our neighborhood.
I called our evac teams. So we have trailers on the property, but then we have one trailer that comes and kind of takes out the rest of the animals. We have 66 animals, rescued animals here at Big Heart Ranch. 2 were helping in Agora, because that was like a huge danger zone, lots of horses there. 1 actually said, "Hey, don't worry, it's not coming to Malibu the way the winds are going." And the other one, our partners up at Lifesavers, came all the way from Lancaster, and they were like, "Don't worry, we're coming first thing in the morning." I'm like, "Great, I'll be there at 7, we'll evac, it'll be great."
And fire probably, we could see it from maybe 10 a.m. on, and it took about an hour to come down about 7 miles of the canyon that we could see, and eventually blasted into our neighborhood, and a handful of us engaged it at the top of the canyon and fought it all day. Just did whatever we had to. Mostly ended up splitting up and fighting it one-on-one, losing quite a few homes, but saving maybe a couple hundred homes. Turned into a lot of rescuing animals after that too, since nobody was allowed back in the city. It was just a few of us here.
I had the wherewithal to just pack a big thing of water, and every time I ran to my car, I would like just chug it and then, run back out and work together with the team to keep the animals safe. But I remember putting the alpacas, and we had the horses on a light tower while we were waiting, because the wall of flame, it was on the ridgeline, and within 10 minutes it was at Zuma. It was so fast.
The evacuation was pretty traumatic for most people.
We actually have them practice evac drills with us. So for example, with the chickens, we invite our clients to pick up a chicken, and then they're like, "Oh, but that's mean, maybe they don't like that." And I completely acknowledge that, and the intention behind every activity here, there is always an intention. The intention for that activity is, what if there was a fire and we had to get all these animals out? You'd be helping us by connecting and sensitizing these rescued animals who aren't used to human contact with sensitizing them to a pickup.
I did not evacuate, but for those that did, a few things happened. Number 1, the evacuation was not planned well, and the entire highway was in gridlock. So it took many people that tried 5.5 hours to get to Santa Monica.
So helping that day, integral helper, she ran down to the beach and found a gentleman by the name of Paul, and he just was like, "Yeah, I'll come help you guys." So he brought his truck and trailer up and got the rest of our animals out to the beach, and then our evac trailer came and we loaded them up and took them all to Silver Spur, but all but 3. I personally, in my Yukon Denali, had Mr. Piggles Wiggles, 2 goats, and then we started putting goats and stuff in cars and whatnot.
So we all originally got some texts, emails, or reverse 911 phone calls, but the power here went out, I think about 8:30 in the morning, and then we got absolutely nothing. But right as the fire was about to turn on the hoses and it was about to hit us, it started raining something. And I was like, "What the heck is that?" It felt like hail. I was like, "What is that?" And I had my fire helmet on, and it was bouncing off my helmet, and I saw something bounce and land on the ground. I was like, "What is that?" So I picked it up. It was a rock. So I realized the fire was like so hot and intense, it was sucking the earth up and flicking it like 150 yards at us. There was a house next door that was clearly gonna catch fire and we couldn't save it. So we had these little hoses, we were trying to put out spot fires. And I peeked around the wall at this house that we thought was gonna catch fire. I was like, guys, it's gonna go. And when it goes, it's close, it's gonna be scary. And sure enough, the whole thing collapsed. And when it did, it showered us with thousands of embers. I don't even know, like the whole sky just went embers, went right over us. My son and I drove over to a street called Wandermere and drove down that trying to see who else might need help. And the entire street was on fire, 24 homes, all at once. And I have video of us and we're driving down just freaking out. We turn around and get out of there thinking, what are we doing here? And then we thought, we gotta go back and check on Tim. And so we drove through pretty scary fire and we get back to his house and it's still fire everywhere, but there's Tim. House hasn't burned, and he's putting out spot fires on the lawn with one of the hoses. I'm like, Tim, how did you do that? How did you save the house? He's like, well, it's on the roof, and every time those embers came overhead, I just took the hose and turned it on myself and put out the embers, and then went back to fighting the fire. It's like, wow, you are one crazy dude. But you know, I'll never forget that. So people have been amazing. People have been amazing. There's been a ton of help for a lot of people, and some people have done incredible things. And so overall, it's traumatizing, but parts of it are building the community. And you know, Malibu is resilient, and we're going to bounce back.